How's it going, everybody? Today on the show, as always, we're taking your question. We're having a good time talking about live sound and everything. You know the drill. Welcome to another Monday live stream. How you doing, guys? Welcome to another Monday live stream. My name is Guillaume. If it's your first time on the channel, make sure to subscribe. I don't know why the subscribe button went on during the intro. It should haven't. But hey, we're here to talk about live sound. We're here to talk about anything that has to do with the wonderful world of live production that I can get my hands on. If you guys are interested in that, we can make sure to do this. News. I'm keeping streaming on Twitch, so if you guys are there on Twitch, make sure to say hi. Just let me check that we are live on Twitch. I'm always, running a one-man show, like you guys should know. Yes, we're live on Twitch. We are live on YouTube. I saw Charlie in the chat. Hey, don't be afraid to say hi. We're here to have a good time together. We're here to answer your question. We have the honor today in the chat to have Patrick Gilles Maillot, the beautiful, my moderator for a long time. It's been a couple years since he's been my mod on the channel. So, yeah, everybody is here. Hanger77, good to see you. Will, what's up, G? Rolf, nice background. Thank you very, very much. Dan, hello, good to see you again. Beautiful, are you sure? Yeah, why not? Beauty is in the eye. How you say that? Beauty is in the eye of the people or the person looking. Something like that. Something is along those lines. Take it, Patrick. Take it. As always, coffee. Not on the console that much anymore. I'm eventually gonna fix that, but for now, coffee live on the side. And there's a couple change around the channel. Can we talk about that? I mean, usually I talk about the weather, and I'm gonna make that really clear. I don't want to go out. It's freezing cold right now. We had about 4.5 feet of snow, 1.5 meters of snow, basically, and now it's cold. Now it's minus 21 Celsius, minus 6 freedom unit. This night we're expecting that. So yeah, man. Let's not talk about the weather. Let's talk about my beautiful new setup. What do you think? I spent a lot of time and a tiny bit of money on that thing, investing into the beautiful IKEA racks. I think it looks awesome. I spend time, moving things around, make sure that I have all my mics doing in an order. I have a couple things that I included here, like my Atomic Green. I can take it out. Atomic Green HS55. This is an original Shure that I custom paint. Not myself, but I asked somebody to custom paint that. It's a fully working mic, and at some point I even add blue LED inside of it. So it was green glowing blue. So yeah, put a little bit of time investing into the background. I'm really happy with the result. Just gonna put that there. Don't move. And I also have like a couple extra stuff like this. That is my spare Beta 87A ULXD. When I order all my ULXD stuff on the used market, I made a mistake. I ordered one too many of these handheld, and after a while, this one is brand new. Like, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's supposed to be a used Beta 57. I believe it was never used, and if I'm correct, it came with an SB 900 battery, rechargeable battery from Shure. So I got that for dirt cheap. I'm keeping it. As always, I'm always scoring good deal. This is the only reason why I buy gear. But basically, yeah, I just took my extra gear that was laying around It made sure that it would stay there. And I'm destroying the setup. Of course. That some reminiscence of the past. We have the Yamaha Dente card here. The NY64D. I'm gonna look at the box over there. NY64D hanging there. A beautiful Sennheiser with a broken ground pin. That's a prop. Not much you can do with that. So yeah, pretty much. My internet is going down a bit after UDM brought the reboot. I hope you're okay, Dan. You know, I hope you don't miss the stream for that. I'm not promoting item actually, Patrick. This is all the stuff that I have playing around, like a couple of old 57. I have actually one that I'm kind of ashamed to have here on the wall is the Shure SM4. You guys probably saw those microphone. I did an unboxing. Really, really cool setup, and I didn't really had a chance to use them. I want to use those as drum overhead, but for the time being, I don't have any show to put them on because some of my other gig where I supply microphone, everything is already there. So why would I bother with these microphones? But eventually, I'm going to use those beautiful, beautiful SM4 from Shure. I think they look amazing. If you guys are on the market for a studio mic, you don't want to spend too much money and you want to have the complete package, it comes with the shock mount, the grill. It's like perfect solution. It sounds really good, and it's on the affordable side. Let me put that back into place. Stay there. Please stay there. So, if you guys like it, good. This is why we're here. Also, while we're at it, I spend the morning double watching video, like Charlie, who's watching on Twitch. Hey, Charlie, can you just confirm that everything is good on Twitch? I would like to have a confirmation on that and just make sure that everything is good. Robert, good to see you, man. Always fun to have some regulars around. I spend the morning doing a couple of things. I know it's the small little detail that make big difference. I've learned to program OBS, and I've learned to do stuff that I didn't know how to do, and I love to learn. And the result of me learning about new stuff is, like you saw in the intro. Have you guys noticed that I was zooming in during the intro? And now, some people will laugh about this, but I think it's a game changer in the quality of my stream. When I press this button, look what happened. The screens are fading. Are they fading correctly? No, they're not fading correctly. Hold on. They should fade like this. That's what I wanted to have. I know. Stupid stuff. But just the fact that when I press the button, it just fade into another. I'm getting the rounded corner here and there. I get the rounded corner. It's like those little things that make the difference in stream, I believe. It's not just like hard cut anymore. I just like whoop, go from here to here. It's moving. It's dynamic. It's not hard cut or fading in and out. I don't know, man. It's the kind of small thing. It's like when you discover, okay, let's bring that back to sound. It's like when you discover the first time that you can mute your send into your effect. Don't say that, Rob. I'm not a video guy. I'm not a video guy. I know I enjoy doing... damn it, I enjoy doing video stuff. I'm a sound guy. At heart, I'm a sound guy. And like every sound guy, or actually, like every video guy that I know, they used to do sound. And now they switched to do video. I think the reason why is because it's kind of the same principle of signal flow, where doing light is well, on the physicality of doing lights, operating console and stuff like that is a thing, but the artistic of light is different than the artistic of sound and video. I believe they are closer together, sound and video. So yeah, but no, I'm not a video guy. What I was about to say is, when you the discovery that I'm doing here is the same thing that when the first time that you're discovering that you can mute your effects input on a gig. For those of you who never know about that, because I know some people in the chat here are new to sound, when you're doing a show, most of the time you want to mute the input of your effect. The reason is, when you mute the FX return, or in our wing, if you use a second insert, it's going to act like an FX return. If you mute the FX return, if you have a reverb that is tailing out or a delay that is tailing out, if you mute the return, you're gonna mute the tail end of that effect. If you mute the input, there's simply nothing, no more signal being fed into that effect. It's gonna tail out and it's gonna be beautiful. I'm at the same place right now. It's like I figure out when doing this to have access to my console, to look at the thing that I can just press here. It's just smooth. It's just those small details that's going to change the way that I'm running live stream. If I don't forget to do them my fade time. But maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's an OBS bug. Because those of you who don't know, streaming on with OBS is a open broadcast software, or the name of the software is Open Broadcast, and it's a freeware. So you get what you pay for at the end of the day. Sometimes stuff is buggy. Sometimes, when you're doing this, like, see, my transition is not working right because I didn't choose the right. There you go. I didn't choose the right transition, and by default, I think it's gonna reset every single time. So I would need to figure out a way to make that sticky. But it's, it's the same kind of thing that you need to learn. You need to learn how to operate that stuff, and working with OBS, you need to learn to work with that little buggy thing here that are probably never gonna get fixed, because somebody at some point need to invest time and not money, or there's no money reward going to this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Patrick, of course I can relate, or for sure I can relate. I'm gonna read your phrase correctly, please. Have the same excitement each time I program something for the wing, for the X32. Actually, if you don't know who Patrick is, I was about to say that. If you don't know who Patrick is, I would suggest you to go visit his website, x32ram.com, x32ram.com. He's got a bunch of software. He's doing that on his free time. He's asking a little bit of money for those, but I think it's a fair reward for the price that you pay versus the amount of stuff that you get. He's got some really cool software that allow you to interact deeper, sometimes with Wing, the X32 Reaper. And my favorite one probably for Wing is the one where you have two SD cards in the back and you can alternate between those two to do like a full, like 100% self-contained studio with your Wing. So if you guys have a Wing and you want to learn a little more into that, if you are more integrated with Reaper and you don't really mind recording to SD card, go check out his website. He got a really cool software where you can do way more with the Wing Reaper, and also the X32, because he started back in the day of the X32. So go check out his website. He doesn't pay me to say that. I'm just doing this because I want to, because he's a nice guy. He's been around. He's been moderating the chat for years at this point. So, merci Patrick. Merci beaucoup. How you guys doing? I've been talking, and we just look at the new setup. How you guys doing? Anybody have any complaint? It's time to bring that stuff in. Last week I had Nick complaining about the Xenon fader on the rack versus another way to do it, and I don't even remember how he did that. He basically changed the setup menu in those fader here versus config, and since I don't have a rack at the moment, for now I don't have a rack, I didn't dive too much into this. But I understand his point. Last week, I pretty much said that his claim were valid. Having basically when you press a Xenon fader, as you can see on the top here, you have a Xenon fader. If you are like on this menu here, like you would navigate the rack. If you are on Xenon fader here, it doesn't show the Xenon fader for those bus. You need to go here. Basically, the Xenon fader is doing nothing on the rack because there is no fader. That's my understanding of the problem. So on the rack, if you want to adjust a monitor mix, you need to go here at the bottom, here for 16, another tab for the matrix, and that's about it. Xenon fader with the custom control doesn't really work the way that it worked on the compact, because on the compact you have physical fader, where the wing rack doesn't have any physical fader. That's the problem that he has to face. Anybody else having any problem, we can talk about this. I'm honestly open to have a really good discussion about anybody who has any suggestion on the wing. There's not much, there's a lot of work that has been done on stuff that goes along with the wing. I just want to make sure that I say things that the way they are. Basically, I think I can say this. My understanding is that the dev are working a lot on Copilot and other stuff at the moment, because let's face it, the firmware 3.0.5 is fairly stable. There's not many bugs that I'm aware of, and I think a lot of people complain that the Copilot stuff is not up to speed yet. So I know they spend a lot of money. They don't spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of time on the Copilot stuff and the phone app. Wix. I was about to say MXQ. WingQ. MXQ is for the MXQ. Okay, funny thing. MXQ and I don't want to say anything stupid. Hold on. Did you know? Let me backtrack this. The coffee's kicking in. I'm freaking out. I've got to put word in my mouth before I go into this explication. A few weeks ago, I was on a gig with a friend. He brought his XR18. I've mixed on XR18. One of my friends that has an Android phone went out, connected to the Wi-Fi, and I was like, "Oh, dude, there is no app like for Android phone that will allow you to run your monitor mix on the XR18." And he goes like, "Yes, there is." And I'm like, "Okay, you're using Mixing Station." He goes like, "No, MXQ." He's using MXQ with an XR18, he's connected to it, and he has access to his monitor mix. I never heard of that. I tried it on iPhone, it worked. On Android, it worked. I was like, dude, what's going on here? It says MXQ, but MXQ apparently also include the XR stuff. I didn't know. Anybody in the chat knew about this? Because to me, it was seriously a big surprise. I had no information that those would be remotely compatible. I know that the iPad apps are not compatible with one another. So I was like, okay, really? I know that some app for phone on the Android side can control the XR18 completely. So maybe they did the crossover at some point. Welcome to the 1980s. What are you talking about, Rob? Is my chat lagging or something? Did I put in the 1980s? Do I have any chorus going on? Do you have any chorus going on my bus send? I'm not kidding, Patrick. I know some people. I saw it in front of my face, and I was like, I didn't know. Well, I heard of MXQ, but I didn't know it was running on the XR18. Why would I know that? It supported XR from start. Oh, come on. Seriously, guys? Should I just like close the stream and go home? Well, actually, I'm home already. So, should I close the stream and just go cry in a dark corner? Honestly, I never heard of that. Seriously. Will I say seriously? Seriously, I never heard of that. So, okay. To me, it's news. And I'm apparently 5 years late. But why is it not in the title or something? Because I know it's kind of the same thing. Then I grab your favorite Canuck beer. Sure, I can have a cold one after this. Well, actually, no, it's too cold outside. Let's keep it for coffee. Let's keep it to coffee for now. Goes back to 2019. Okay. Well, actually, I believe when XR, not the XR, but the MXQ app was launched in 2019 to replace, I don't remember what the apps are. It was the M32 Mix or X32 Mix, something like that. The app before. Man, I feel like I missed the boat on that one. I didn't know that. Thank you very much for doubling down on me, guys. Always a pleasure to look like a fool live on the internet for you. So, man, it happened, I guess. All right. So, anybody have any complaint about the wing? Now that I made a fool of myself, I can probably try to look good, and maybe someone asking anything that I can fix, so we can fix together. Because otherwise, we only have a good time together, guys. And I'm also down with that, but keep in mind that I have a show to do here. How's it going on the Twitch side? Let me check the stats on Twitch. Anybody watching over there? Is it just Charlie? No, there's not. Okay, don't be afraid to say hi on Twitch. I'm here with you guys. You guys are new to this channel. I know this is not something that I used to do. I've been streaming a lot on YouTube, but streaming on Twitch is something that I would like to pursue for a while. I would like to give it a try because I see a lot of good thing happening on Twitch. For those of you who don't know, I'm mixing a kind of big stream for Twitch for the lovely people over at Loto Quebec. I just finished yesterday we wrap up a season of 12 episodes where we have a bunch of streamers in studio getting, training on how to become better streamers. This is a show that is brought to the public by Loto Quebec. So I'm doing sound over there, and I see a lot of people getting good reach on Twitch. And the platform is really different from the one on YouTube. People are, I don't want to say more interactive, but it's more live. Where YouTube is more a archival system where you can go live, where Twitch is 100% live. But I think if you get, or you finally figure out how to get an audience on Twitch, the interaction is really good. People are, from what I'm seeing from the stream that I'm doing, people are really friendly. The sense of community is really big there. So this is why I want to try to, get the thing going on Twitch. I believe it's going to be a good experience for everybody overall. It's going to grow the community from YouTube and Twitch. It's funny because the light match, by the way, red on this side, purple on this side, color of YouTube and Twitch. But yeah, Rob, I'm keep struggling finding a workflow on the rack. I believe the rack is 100%. Hold on, I want to be careful what I say. I believe the rack is mostly made to be run with an iPad. Copilot, mixing station, if you prefer. It's pretty much all the same. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter really. It's more the app that you prefer. So, yeah, man, it's a matter of getting comfortable with the app. Or actually, I don't remember who is it. Poncho that has a big 3 touch screen with a couple fader to run a rack. Maybe that's the kind of setup that you need to do if you want to get creative with your computer setup, because it has to be controlled by a computer. And the idea, well, I have a rack on order, and to me the idea of having a rack is exactly that reason. I want to have a screen there if I need to fiddle with the thing and the router doesn't work, but mostly for mixing iPad and I'm gonna say it. Okay, I had a discussion the other day with Nick. We were talking, we're texting each other, and one rack and laptop is better. Okay, this is kind of where I'm going. Can anybody tell me why? Switch screen here just to see my new transition. And can anybody tell me why in the chat? Why aren't we having exactly the same thing as this on a tablet? I'm not a dev. Maybe somebody who's doing some development in the chat, maybe like Patrick, can tell me why can't we just get an iPad app that you click on it, you put it to the side, and this is the screen that you get. You have access to pretty much like all the knobs, or maybe we would need to have the knob on the side to be somewhere in the bottom of the screen or the top of the screen. Why can't we just get exactly this UI and everything would follow the console UI and the iPad? Basically, why can't the iPad just be an extension, like a wireless screen? Maybe there's something here that I don't know. Maybe there's a reason why they want to have, a different option. But to me, it would make way more sense to just have the same thing. Hold on, Patrick, am I out of sync on Twitch, or is just a matter of being like, of course, we're going to have different kind of latency because of the ingest server. Maybe Twitch is faster, and I believe Twitch is faster. Because, like Rob, if you want to develop a way to work on the wing, I believe it would be better to just have the same UI. The APIs are very different, and there's no easy way, or there is no easy one-to-one correlation between the GUIs on both Surface. Okay. I use touchscreen laptop. Yeah, there you go. Touchscreen laptop would be pretty much the same thing as running the app. So you're basically doing it, Will. Just latency from different platform. Yeah, latency from different platform is kind of normal because the ingest server. I'm sending the way that my setup is made. I'm sending OBS straight out to both platform at the same time, and the ingest server and the way that maybe it's sending out to Europe, because I know, Patrick, you're in France, maybe half a second difference there is yes. That's pretty much normal. This is why back in the day, I'm gonna sidetrack here totally. Back in the day, I used to listen to a TV show that was also broadcast on the radio. And because I had way better speaker on my home theater, 2 speaker with an AM/FM radio, I used to put the TV on, turn the radio on, and there was a flam there. There was like an out of sync. Back in the day, I didn't care, but it was not, the lips were not syncing with the sound, basically. So, different medium will have different kind of latency. And while we're here, I discovered something really, really funny. I use to do broadcasts for the local radio here. I did maybe 5 to 10, one of here and there for the local radio. And I dropped the job at some point because it was not like my cup of tea. I'm more a coffee guy. But seriously, I was impressed by the fact that we could send analog, 100% analog, to the radio station, because I was doing the remote stuff, over phone line, straight to the radio station, straight on air, and we could listen back to that stream, not from the console. We were listening back from a tuner. Instantaneous. No latency at all. Everything was analog. No conversion, no nothing. Straight to the air. Live. Like, not even 1 millisecond of flam. Or maybe 1 millisecond of flam. But with headphone on, nothing. Okay. Sidetracking back to the UI. It would probably be possible, Patrick speaking here, it would probably be possible, but the GUI from the internal firmware dev is going to real hardware, where in case of the remote app, you do not get the direct feedback nor access to internal variables. Okay. So then dev team for internal and remote apps are generally different team using different tools, and that bring actual value. One validating work software, the other on the software side of the other. Okay, I kind of understand. I have no background. I have no really like experience with dealing with GUI, and it makes sense, and I will believe that, Patrick. But yeah, okay, it kind of makes sense. But I don't know. Yeah. I understand. Okay, let me say it this way. I understand, but if it's possible, I think it will be a better solution and more suited option to have the same UI. Kind of like we're running Wing Edit on multiple computer. It's gonna talk to the same. It's going to talk to the console pretty much the same way, and it's kind of looking the same way. And basically, if I'm going to say it this way, if I could get Wing Edit on an iPad, I'll be more than happy. Like, same software, same everything, because they already done the work, is my understanding, of just having that happening. So, if anybody from the dev team is listening to this and think it's a good idea, maybe can push that through. I'm suggesting something here. I think it will make more sense to have only one edit option to update, like Wing Edit, and just throw that to iPad and throw that to Android. Because I believe they already did the work for that to work on ARM. Because if I remember correctly, you can run Raspberry Pi with Debian or any other like version of Linux and run the software. And if I remember correctly, phone and iPhone, or Android phone and iPhone, are all running on a derivative of Linux. Well, iPhone is running on ARM and have their own software, but it's basically built on Linux. At the end of the day, it's going to run on ARM. So I believe this is how a Raspberry Pi is. Kind of the skeleton of a Raspberry Pi is close to that, so I don't know, guys. Let me sidetrack a little bit in the chat, because I start to Forget something. Two Poor Kids. Hey man, I recently discovered your channel and videos. I wonder what your recent pro tips and live stream. Recent pro tip in live mixing professional as a house guy in a small big venue. Thanks. Recent pro tips. It's been a while since I've did some pro tips video. Mostly now I'm focusing on the wing, a couple vlog here and there, and I have a product review coming in. I'll be 100% honest, I have product review coming in because the pro tip stuff, like my bass drum video or my snare, how to enhance a snare, how to basically build like drum trigger. Those videos are doing really well, but I don't have, hundreds of those tricks in my back pocket. I have one more that I wanted to do, but it's not possible to do now on every single console, so I'm debating how I should approach that. I know on the progress right now I have a wireless microphone review. This is what I'm working on. This is what I shot yesterday. I did B-roll for all that stuff, and today I have actually a couple phone call with some people to do help over their wing after the stream, and once I'm done with that, I'm probably gonna take a nap and I'm gonna go back into making a video for that wireless mic. So that's the plan for now. And okay, actually, maybe I can do a quick live professional tips for mixing in big or small venue. I can probably get something done because I need a video for Wednesday, and the one that I'm filming right now for the wireless is still under how do you say that? English is my second language, by the way, guys. I'm still not allowed to talk about the wireless. Well, I'm allowed to talk about the wireless, but I cannot say the embargo. The embargo is not lifted about the wireless that I'm reviewing right now, so I was gonna have to wait a couple weeks before I get that happening. So maybe for this Wednesday I can get a tips about live sound. It's been a while. Could be fun to do it. Okay, did I miss anybody's? Did I miss anybody? Elonate SQ and CQ make their app with the same UI as the mixers, even though the console are not flexible as the X32 or the Wing. Yes, well, actually, they're a different beast. I don't want to. I don't want to get into the debate again of Elonate versus Wing. I think this is kind of dead to me. Where cool, if you actually prefer that, sure. It's your choice to give your money to whoever you want to. Some people will never buy a Wing because it says Behringer on it. Up to you guys. I'm not going to complain about that. Well, actually, you're a lost cause. I cannot change your mind. You cannot be open enough to say, to take a look at this and understand that this is a good console. Talking about the Wing. If you prefer your SQ because you're cheap Chinese, because my cheap Chinese Behringer Wing is garbage, well, you're not open-minded. We're not having a conversation here. Okay. Hold on, Mario. I'm gonna go back to your question. I just want to make sure that I didn't forget anybody. Oh, Patrick used to work at Sun Microsystem. Okay. Martin developing the software and API, and another developing test suits for the documentation. Okay, nice. So that way you counter-verify your stuff. Ralph, I remember that the X32 edit version on 2.5 or earlier tried to simulate the real console look and feel. Oh, it's been a while since I saw. I remember actually X32 2, actually firmware 1, where we didn't have all the plugins. Firmware 2 came with all the plugins. Firmware 3 changed the color of the UI and everything, and I don't remember what happened in 4, but I think it's all the remote stuff that was added, but It's been a while. Is it been 10 year already for the X32? It's maybe more than that. I'm pretty sure in 2015, 10 years ago, the X32 was out. It's maybe more like 12 year. Tablets and phone use multi-platform framework and bound of its limitation. This does not exist on the X32 Wing. Okay. Wing edit is very similar to Mixer layout. I like it. Not the Copilot yet. Yeah, I believe it will be a good idea for them to kind of merge that together. Or honestly, I know I'm gonna get some hate in the chat. I'm still running the old X32 app whenever I'm running an X32 on my iPad. I know it inside out. I'm mixing with the DCA. I'm having my mute group on the left to deal my effect. The only thing that I'm missing in that app is a tap button, and I can do anything with that. People over at Behringer, just make something simple. If you cannot create that UI, because that beautiful UI here that we love, if you cannot make that on an iPad, just reskin the X32 app. It looks amazing. It was working really, really well. I liked it. Some people like Mixing Station. I don't. I don't like to build my UI. I just want something that works. And maybe it's gonna be a hot take, but I don't like third-party apps on most things. Most of the time, when there's an app, I prefer the original app from the dev, and I just believe it worked better, it's implemented better, and sometimes I don't want more. I'm not the kind of guy that looking, and that's probably making me not a good tester for the Wing, because I don't look for stuff that is missing. My approach is more like, okay, here's what I have in front of me. How can I make this work? I'm not looking, for trouble. I'm not looking for stuff. Of course, there is sometimes stuff that I want to do that feel like it should be behaving a certain way. But most of the time, I'm like, how do I make this work? This way. Okay. I'm not trying to implement a shortcut or anything. I'm just trying to figure out, okay, I got this in front of me. It's hard to get to maybe the tap tempo. Because right now, let's say on my Wing, the way it's set up right now, if I have a delay somewhere, probably in my effect rack. No, I don't. But let's say I have a delay here, serial delay. I have no tap tempo, so I'm probably going to create a way to get access to it, or doing a user and just get done with it. I'm not going to ask for a special button that is always on all the time that is doing this. I'm just going to figure out a way to get the job done. If I have to go through a lot of stuff to get the job done, I'll do it. I'll do it, and that's it. So, I don't know. All right, let's go back to question from Mario here. Mario, good to see you, man. Preamp in the SD16 and the DL16 are the same. No. The result will not be the same. Before I get anybody in the chat yelling at me, result will not be the same. The SD16 from Behringer and the DL16 from Midas share the same design, but they do not share the same component, nor do they share the same converter. That's what I mean here. So they don't share the same component, they don't share the same converter. They are the same. Like, if you look at the PC board inside of it, it's pretty much the same thing. It's adapted to different size of component. and that's where you're gonna have your difference. Is it gonna work? Yes. Will people in the crowd hear the difference? Yes, we're talking. Yes, Mario, we're talking about Behringer versus Midas. The SD16 and the DL16. Or is it? Hold on. The SD16 is the cheap one that looks like exactly this one. I have the DL8 here. We're also having. Is there a DL SD16? No, there's not. I believe. Hold on. Am I confusing two units here? Because let me check. SD16 from Behringer. No, the SD16 is looking. It's probably built on the same chassis as the XR18, right? So it's the smaller, more affordable range from Behringer. If I can get my phone on a picture, I'm gonna say that's the unit that we're looking for. That's the unit. It's 16 input, 8 output. I actually didn't know about this one because I don't have any Behringer stage box. DL16 isn't Mackie? No, not to be mixed up with the DL32. The DL32 is the stage box from Midas. Really confusing name scheme here. But okay, no, they're not. I was right when I said that no, they're not the same component, and no, they're not the same converter. Will people in the crowd really hear a difference? I don't think so. Maybe people playing on stage into really good in-ear monitors, yes, they will hear the difference. Actually, it will. Once you all put together a bunch of those preamps, let's say that you have two of those and you have a band of 32 input. Once you start to add those little difference into really good in-ear mixes, yes, you will hear a difference. Not much, and not as big as if you were to go. I don't have a Midas Blue Box here in this room, but not the same difference as if you were to go with a Midas Stage Box Blue Box. You will hear a difference between these, but it's not. It's not really on the individual preamp. It's the summation of all those preamp together on a mix. If you were to take. And I need to do a video about that. You take the same mix and you send it to a DL16, a Wing, a DL2, a DL251, and it will have a slight difference overall. But on every single input, yeah, not really. The Behringer stage box has been completely redesigned since its original release. Okay, interesting. I would be curious to know the difference between these two because I remember when back in the day the first DL16 came out, they had a sonic quality to it that I could have recognized. And after that, I just move on to owning a pair of DL16. After that, a pair of DL153. After that, a DL251. And now I own a 251, a pair of 231, a 151. This one here, the DL8. I also have the Hub 4 Pro on the bottom here and the Wing. So I don't really deal with Behringer stage box anymore, other than when I just have an X32. So the X32 preamp have a tone to it. I remember the first version of the X32, they had a tone, but I don't know what's the big deal is. Maybe Robbie can tell us if it's just maybe a power supply thing or if they changed that. But I believe back in the day they were different. Sonically, if you were to go from the Behringer to the high-end Midas Pre, you would hear a difference. But it's more. I don't like words like warmth or definition or I'm trying to look for the right phrasing here. The Midas stage box felt less mushy. Like if you were to send the same mix, and I did it actually. I actually switch in between two shows with the same band. I switched between between an S32 and a pair of DL251, no 153, the blue 16. I go from 32 input of Behringer to 2x16 from Midas, the blue box. Didn't tell the band. That could have been a disaster. But for some reason, everything seems to fit better in the mix. Less stuff was competing over one another. Guys start to go like, okay, I can drop some stuff in my mix and I don't need to raise my vocal. Or I don't, or I can bring up some stuff in my mix and it doesn't eat up my vocal. The mid-range, there was a difference on the summation in the mid-range. And I'm not talking about the bus summation, I'm talking the overall input adding together. Once you output those into a mix, there was a difference. It's really hard to, I just don't have the right vocabulary to express it, and I don't want to say it feels more open, because it doesn't, you cannot quantify open, what more open means. But I'm going to say stuff was less piling over one another and stuff was more circling through. In the mix, same thing. Mario, I have one DL153 but need one more 16. Why don't you get another 153? They sound amazing. But you would need to run 2 cable. Guys, tell me if I'm right. If you have a DL16, can you daisy chain? Can you start your chain by your console connected to a DL16 and then to a Midas Blue Box? Will that work? Anybody in the chat can confirm if that's working, because it will be a good way for you to just have, good preamp and really good preamp. You just mic the drum. Maybe you go kick and snare in the Midas, in the 153. Toms, overhead and everything. Live, we don't care about that stuff much. And you're just finishing up with your vocal in your 153. So they sound amazing. And everything else is good, but not good, but a little different. Same, but different. Could you do that? Gentleman with a Russian name. I'm sorry I cannot pronounce that. My limited phonetics reading skills do not allow me to say your name. But you said I'm using an SQ at work and the CQ12T for small gig. But my wing, I consider my best console. Let's not go. Hold on. Hair. Probably a beard, because I probably don't have any hair. Hair flying by. Let's be honest and say that I'm not going to use the term better. I'm going to say more flexible with better option, or more option, not better. I said the word better. I don't want to say the word better. I want to say more flexible with more option for a probably more affordable price. Do you define that as better? Up to debate. But I'm going to say I believe the Wing is a more affordable, more flexible option that you don't need to spend $1,500 in plugins to get the speed. You have all the plugins, everything that you see here, everything that you see there, it's all included, all the effects. And I'm selecting a wrong effects for the time-based stuff. So all the reverbs, all the standard effects, all the channels stripped together on every single input. You have all these options in the gate block, all these options of EQ. This, I'm gonna go back here just to put just to have fun on the SQ and say, hey, I have a de-esser on my input and I don't need to spend a lot of money to get it because it's in there. I don't need to spend another $50 to get a de-esser, and that pisses me off as much as it could the other day when I mixed on an SQ. I was doing a show and I felt like I really needed a de-esser for my lead singer. Went to look into the menu. Oh, it's there, but you need to pay. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, the SQ, it works. If you only have that, it works. Actually, I'm working not daily, but I'm probably running more shows, and that's probably gonna surprise some of you guys. Probably running more show on a Yamaha TF1 than I'm running on a Wing. My corporate venue where I work, I have a TF1 there, and I'm using it between 1 and 3 times a week. I don't like it, but it's getting the job done. So am I a Yamaha user at the end of the day? Probably more than I am a Wing user, funny enough, but I don't like it. I feel limited. I feel like I don't have all the option that I could get from a console, and I'll be guilty here to say that we're expanding the venue where I work. We're gonna have more room, and in those room I'm gonna have Yamaha DM3. They look amazing for what it is. I have more option than my TF1, funny enough, and it's gonna be half, or yeah, about maybe not even half of the Wing. But it's really, really affordable. It's cheaper than a Wing Compact. And because it's way cheaper, well, $1,000 cheaper Canadian, I can understand that they need to cut feature. They cannot give you a full-on, like, flagship everything for a console that is $2,000. Otherwise, you would be calling MR18, and that's just not gonna work. But even though the MR18 doesn't have fader, if Midas made a small console like an MR18 with fader with a small touchscreen on it, maybe they can get in the market of those DM3. Because honestly, the stream that I was doing yesterday at the Loto Quebec headquarters, we have a MR18, and it sounds amazing. I have all the features that I want. I have an expander, I have a compressor, and I have bus limiter. And to do a quick and dirty live stream, that's all you need. 16 input, 8 out. I have speaker on all the sets. There's 3 sets, A, B, C, and I can get my job done. I have 8 wireless, a couple mics, a couple computer input here and there. Just mix that all together into an MR18, and that's good. That's all you need. Using the USB to send stuff here and there, and I'm going analog to the live stream, straight into the Blackmagic. So yeah, man, I wish Midas could maybe bring something up like that. Maybe Behringer doing a upgrade of the MR18 as a small console, 8 fader. Because the Flow 8, by the way, I have a Flow 8. The Flow 8 is good, but I feel like I'm missing a little bit on the UI. I feel a little limited to the amount of option that you have on the input. I wish I could get 8 input of X32 or 8 channel strip of X32. If I could get that, I will be the happiest camper in the world. But I don't see that happening. If only the stuff that is there was open, like there's no gate, I would be fine with that. But if I could get a de-esser on the input, I have the EQ full parametric, that's good. If I could get the compressor parametric, I'll be happy with that. Or if anybody knows how to get that happening in the Flow 8, if anybody here has a Flow 8 and can tell me how I can get that damn compressor attack and release setting, I would be really, really happy. It's all I want. Because the one knob compression for me, not really cutting it. But for the stuff that I'm doing with it, most of the time, it's awesome. Okay, so Mario, you have a DL153, DL16, 32, 251, and it's working every way in the chain. Okay. So it's the internal of the It's the internal of the Behringer stage box that have been changed. So probably you would need to take a look at an older one and opening it up and see what's going on. Daisy chain and S16 to a DL153 work, but only at 48K. Yes, and that's normal because, of course, 48K is the way that we need to go with the wing or other stuff from Behringer. Yeah, on the Flow 8, the remote control over Bluetooth is questionable. Yes, I wish. Well, actually, I think you could plug it over USB and controlling over USB if you have a. And I think it will work if you have the app on a M-powered M Silicon back. I think you can use a computer to remote control it without Bluetooth if you're connected USB and have that app on your device. I could be wrong, but I think this is the way to go. I think on an iPad, if you have a USB-C iPad, you connect the USB-B in the back to USB-C. If you plug it in, you don't need to go over Bluetooth to remote control it. I could be wrong, but I believe it's the way it works. If anybody in the chat can confirm that, I would be really curious to have a confirmation about this. We'll see. Okay, so Rob explaining here about the AKM. Is it AKM? AKM factory burned down in 2020. You guys probably are aware of that. That's the reason why we lost all the supply of all the audio chips, and not only for console, it was for cars, microwave, TV, name it. Everything that required an audio chip, an FPGA audio chip, has to be pretty much redone from scratch because the supplier of those chips burned down early 2020. So that's the reason why we went a couple of years there without having consoles. This is why it was so hard to get Wing Compact at some point, or the original Wing. Nothing to do with the screen, but the chain supply for almost everything Behringer was stopped because of the non-availability of those chips back in the day, if you guys remember that or not. Some of you guys were not there. It's been a while. It's been 5 years. Cannot believe that. I believe when I first started to stream, it was the hot subject around YouTube. It's like, what are we gonna do? There was no way to get audio gear, and it was the pandemic. Everybody was packing up on audio gear. Everybody recorded an album. Every single people that was working from home started to play guitar again, and everybody started the podcast. Everybody but in SM7. Yeah, those kind of move. And back in the day, microphones were available, but interface, they were flying off the shelf faster than they could be filled. So, it didn't really happen. Anything else that you guys want to talk about? We already reached the 1 hour mark, and I have time on my hand today. I have about half an hour if you guys want to go over some stuff. I have an appointment at 4, so it's currently 4:30. If not, we're just gonna call it a day. But it's been a rocky stream so far. Really interesting question. We went back and forth, left and right, and yeah. And I'm running out of coffee, guys. So you better hurry up in the chat if you want to continue on that one, because you can clearly see puns intended. You can clearly see that my mug is empty. Anything happening on Twitch? Anybody there? Charlie's still there for sure. I still have a couple people watching there. Thank you very much for doing so. Welcome to the channel if it's your first time. Alright. Again, I'm going to say it last call. Any more question? Because usually I start to wrap it up and you guys coming up with questions. So if I start to dive into closing the stream, I don't want the keyboard warrior to just go like, and send me a question just a second before I said that was it, guys. So, warning, you guys are tapping in. You guys are not tapping in. 3, 2, 1, we're going to close the stream. You guys are good with that. Thank you very much. We're good. All right, we're going to go along and call it a day. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Rolf, Robert, Mario, everybody else, Stevie, who was in the chat. Thank you very, very much, everybody who participate into those stream. Renner, merci. Okay, everybody, I need more coffee, so I'm going to listen to Dan, and I'm going to get myself another coffee. Thank you very much for spending time with not only me, us, this Monday afternoon. I really appreciate the fact that you take time of your day and you come here to enjoy yourself, talking about live sound, talking about, you know, anything that has to do with the world of live production. We talk about the SQ stuff, we talk about the Yamaha stuff today. So Wing ET April 22nd. I'm still waiting on my wing rack. It's on the way. Don't worry, guys. You're gonna know really, really well when it's gonna happen. Here, funny enough, I have a story for you guys. I've already ordered another Dante card for it. So the first thing that we gotta do when I'm opening up my rack is gonna be to add a fan and a Dante card to it. So we'll see what's going on with that. On that note, thank you very, very much for being part of this live stream. I'm going to see you guys next Monday. Next Monday, we have the usual open discussion about anything if we're not talking about the video that's going to be released on Wednesday. So stick around for the video on Wednesday. Make sure to like this video before you leave, please. It's making a difference for me. It's making a difference in the rewatch, how much YouTube is suggesting this to other people. If you're live on Twitch and you want to rewatch that, go on my channel on YouTube. I'll probably have a link down there. See you guys next Monday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Same as always. And before we leave, I just need to say one more thing. I want you guys to please take care of yourself. And I'll see you all later. Next Monday. Or when we have a video out. See ya.